Hello and welcome to worship here at Covenant Presbyterian DTC. I'm Pastor Barb, and today is my birthday. There's a 6 and a 2 in it. And if you're thinking I look a little worn down for 26, why, you're exactly right. I'm happy to be with you on my birthday, and if you were at church today, you'd be getting some cake and cookies. So I'm sorry you're not here, but I'm so happy that we can bring you worship into your home this morning. Now, next week, we have 2 weeks in a row of the Bible on Broadway, and we're not able to pre-record that because of all the music and different people involved. So we're going to try to record it in church and then have it up on our YouTube channel. So it won't be up Sunday morning, but look for it later in the day and we will post the live service for you. We're hoping to get live streaming up within the next several weeks. Alex is working hard on doing that, so you can actually join us live at 10 o'clock if you like, and then we'll have the service replayed anytime you want it on our YouTube channel. There's a couple of events coming up I want to alert you to. One is for the under 40 crowd and one is for the over 40 crowd. The under 40s with kids are meeting at my house on July 18th. So if you want to come, just let me or Alex know. We're going to have some pulled pork sandwiches and talk about what ministry might look like for families in our church. And then the other event is that the Circle of Friends is debuting, and this is a fellowship group geared towards active retired people. We are going to be meeting at Downhill Brewery in Parker on July 30th. It's a Friday evening at 5 o'clock. They've got live music, and we're going to enjoy some beer and some thin crust pizza. So I hope you'll plan on coming for that. So this morning, I'd like you to join me as I call us to worship. In deep gratitude, we come to worship God. We recognize God as the source of all goodness. All good gifts come from the Spirit of God. Love, peace, joy, patience, kindness, and gentleness are all of God. We come with grateful hearts, not for things, but for who God is. We gather to show our gratitude in song and prayer. Let us worship God.
Created heavens times that come, and grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now. Your grace holds me now.
Scriptures to rebuild your life on. Our scripture today is the phrase, pray without ceasing. This is from Paul's letter to the church in Thessalonica. It's from 1 Thessalonians chapter 5. But this verse occurs in a larger passage, and I want to read you all the phrases that surround it. It's at the end of the book, the letter, and the heading, if you open your Bible, it says final words. So Paul is wrapping up this letter and is dishing out some really good advice to his friends in Thessalonica. This is also, incidentally, the oldest letter in the New Testament. In other words, it's one of the first pieces written, one of the first things Paul ever wrote, and it's really beautiful. He liked the people in Thessalonica. It's a really good letter. And here's what he says to them in his final words. Make sure no one pays back wrong for wrong, but always strive to do what is good for each other and for everyone else. Rejoice always. Pray continually. Give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Jesus Christ. This is a fully loaded little passage. There's probably a sermon almost in every word in this. So as we focus on our phrase, pray continually, I want you to notice a few other things that are in the verses around it. I want you to notice the everys and the alls. Paul says, do good always to everyone. Rejoice always, pray always, or pray without ceasing, and give thanks always. When you look at the whole context of this, he's not just talking about an act, something you do one time, like pray. This passage tells us that Paul is talking about a way of life and a way of being. Prayer is not just private piety. These verses speak to a radical call to a counterintuitive, countercultural love. Paul says, don't repay evil for evil, but do good to everyone, always. In fact, rejoice always and pray always. When we look at this phrase that he's using, the pray without ceasing or the pray always, we find that the literal translation of that Greek word is incessantly. Pray incessantly. And when we look at different translations of the Bible, we find it translated in these ways. Pray constantly. Continually be prayerful. Constantly pray. Never stop praying. Pray without interruption or uninterruptedly pray. Pray without omission. Prayer is not just an act. For Paul, it's a way of being, and it's a way of manifesting a life in Christ that is about rejoicing and doing good and staying connected to God in prayer. Because how else are we going to live this way unless we are connected to God? I've been thinking, what does it look like to pray without ceasing? What does that even mean in our lives? You know, one thing I've realized in my life as a Christian is that prayer and spirituality are not a one size fits all. There's not just one way to pray, and if you don't do it, then you're in trouble. There's not wrong ways to pray. I remember growing up, I did most of my growing up in Colorado Springs. And I went to a large evangelical church downtown. So I went to youth group in the 70s. And I also, for a time, went also to Young Life Club. Young Life headquarters are in Colorado Springs. And so it was really huge down there. And I think it was Young Life Ministries that coined the phrase daily quiet time. Does that ring a bell for any of you? DQT. And as young teenagers, we were taught to have daily quiet time. A DQT ideally was an hour spent with God and prayer and Bible reading, but they were hoping, I think, for at least 10 minutes. Well, I was just not a DQT kind of person. I was never able to achieve this daily time with God. And as a result, honestly, I walked around feeling like a failure. I walked around feeling like I wasn't a real Christian because I wasn't able to achieve this goal of a DQT. But then there's people like Brenda Johnson, our beloved Brenda, who passed away this past year. Brenda woke up and started every day with at least an hour, if not two, an hour of prayer and Bible study. That's how Brenda rolled. That's how Brenda manifested praying without ceasing in her life. She devoted a specific time just to connect with God. But that's not the way everybody operates. As I really pondered, what does it mean to pray without ceasing, to pray without interruption, to pray incessantly? I thought, well, what else do we do? What else do we do that can compare to that? What do we do without stopping? Really, the only thing I thought of was breathing. Breathing is something we do without even thinking. It just happens. It is constant. It never stops. It is uninterrupted. What if prayer was like that? What if that's exactly what Paul meant when he said, pray without ceasing? Well, let's remember this about our breath and our breathing. Both in the Hebrew and the Greek, the languages of the Bible, the ancient languages, the words for spirit and breath are exactly the same word. In the Old Testament Hebrew, the word is ruach, breath and spirit. When God breathed life into the first human being, that breath is God's spirit breathed our breath. It's the same word. And in the New Testament, the word is pneuma with a silent P. Pneuma also means spirit and breath. As we breathe, what if as we breathed, we connected with the Spirit of God? But how can we do that? How can we find ways to actually connect our mind and our hearts with our breath so that prayer is something that is a constant in our lives? Some of you might need structure to do this. You might need some specific help. So one way to do this is to use written prayers. Have something that you read in the morning and then take a phrase of that prayer and carry it with you. Every week in our bulletins, we have beautiful prayers. So if you keep your bulletin or if you use the one that we've emailed to you, you instantly have a structure to help you pray. In our bulletin for this week, there's a gorgeous prayer of confession that I found. You could read that prayer and then just maybe use a line of it to stay with you during the day. A line like, may your love be the pattern of my life. So that throughout your day, you can turn to that phrase. May your love be the pattern of my life, and take a breath and stay connected to God. There's a website I use frequently to find prayers for worship called faithandworship.com. It has beautiful prayers for every occasion. And if you are someone who needs a little help and a little structure, like you don't know what to pray on your own, there's some resources out there that can help you keep a really vibrant prayer life going. Here's some other ideas for you. What about keeping a song in your head all day? Maybe there's a hymn you love or a line from a hymn that really speaks to you. So maybe have a song every day that you're going to think of in the morning and then let it stay with you. Maybe it's Amazing Grace, or maybe it's Joyful, Joyful, We Adore You, and let that guide your day. One of my favorite praise songs is Blessed Be the Name of the Lord. Blessed be your name. That stays with me. And that might be something that can help me take a breath and bless God's name. Here's another one. Just keep a Bible verse handy. A lot of you may do this already. Just have a simple line, like a sentence prayer, that when your thoughts stray or your day gets stressful, you have a go-to with you. It could be a line from our scriptures for today, rejoice always. Maybe that's your prayer guide, rejoice always. Maybe it's from the Psalms, make straight my path, or be a light to my feet. Maybe it's walk humbly with God, or give thanks in all circumstances. This takes effort. It will take an effort and a discipline for you to choose a verse or to choose a phrase and then remember throughout your day to use it. But it's a beautiful way to pray constantly, to keep your spirit connected to God all day. Some people really like to write down things to help them pray. They keep journals. A great discipline is to write down things you're thankful for, to either start your day or to end your day. And it is very truly scientifically proven that by practicing gratitude, you shift your whole perspective in life to a positive perspective. What a great way to connect breath and gratitude and prayer throughout your day, giving thanks. One of the things I do to stay connected to gratitude and prayer is to try and appreciate every moment. And I've had people say to me, gosh, you really appreciate things. Or I've had people say when we're out to dinner, like they'll joke with me like, wow, you really love food. And here's what it is. Yes, I do, but I appreciate the beauty of flavor and good food. I like to let it fill me. And the other thing is the beauty of the world. I have several routes that I use to drive to work, and each route has a special beauty or appeal of nature for me. One of the ways I drive to work is it cuts through Peoria as it turns into Bellevue, and it cuts through a little edge of Cherry Creek State Park. And there's beautiful fields and there's ponds on that route, and there's prairie dogs everywhere. And I just love them. I love watching them do their little jumps and squeaks. I love watching the babies in the spring when they're born come out. It fills me. And I always arrive at work with a smile because I've allowed the goodness of God's creation to fill me. I sometimes, if I have 5 extra minutes, take the dam road, which is the road that goes across the Cherry Creek Dam. It has a spectacular view of the entire Front Range. And I just let it fill me and make me glad and remember the beauty that is God. In the spring and in the fall, I have lots of different routes because I like to drive down different streets to see the trees that are flowering or the trees that are turning in the fall, because it ministers to me. It sets the tone of my day. It helps me keep that connection to God. You may also want to, you use your phone to stay connected. There's prayer and meditation apps. Maybe you can copy a prayer from the Faith and Worship website, to have handy so you don't have to remember it, but you can just read it when you need it. And another thing that I do, and this involves other people, is if I run into someone or get a message from someone that needs a prayer or is having a rough day, I will now text them or email them a prayer. I'll cut and paste something from that wonderful website and I'll just send it to them right there. How powerful that is. Instead of just saying those empty words, oh, I'll pray for you. Boy, when I send someone a prayer, they will message me back and say, you do not know how much I needed that. It's a way to help other people connect to God in prayer. So here's one of the most important things, is to not give up on prayer. To stay connected to God, to pray without ceasing, means that you should never come to a point in your life where you say, prayer doesn't work. I'm done. I'm giving up on prayer. That would be the very opposite, wouldn't it? It would be the opposite of praying without ceasing, to give up on prayer, because it means that you've lost your faith in God. So my hope for you is that you will never give up. You will never lose faith, but you will, like breathing, have prayer and a connection to God become so much a part of your life that it becomes a part of your very being, not just an act. Don't make prayer just an act, a thing you do. Make it a part of who you are. And that way, you will be empowered to always do good, to never return evil for evil, to always rejoice, to always pray. It's the way God meant us to be, with our spirit and our breath. Amen.